I've been wanting to do more rants, and I am going to do them. I work at an evening shift where, in between doing things, I have, minutes on end. I'm waiting for assignments most of the time. And then regularly, I just have to check on things. So I figured it's a good time to catch up because I have a lot of videos I want to do. Just due to laziness and video games, I keep not doing them. So I wanted to do a video on September 11th. I actually had to write all my points down because I have a lot. And it's not a conspiracy theory video. I'm not going to say it was, fucking missiles or holograms or fucking whatever. But there are a lot of things that never sat right with me. And if any 2 or 3 of these things happened, it would be a weird coincidence. I have a list of things that just never sat right with me and still don't. And the more this goes on, the more I just can't accept what I've been told happened. So right off the bat, oh, and by the way, some of my information might have changed. It might have been proven false. But this is just the shit I've picked up over the years, just reading different opinions, facts, whatever. So right off the bat, 4 guys with box cutters take over a plane from full red-blooded Americans. That alone seems weird to me. Not impossible, very unlikely. The planes hit... These guys had very limited piloting skills. Apparently they had run some simulators. They hit 2 buildings in 2 different places, and both buildings went down when these buildings were built to withstand that. Odd. Another building went down without being hit. No? They found one guy's ID on top of the rubble after a plane going 500 miles an hour was atomized in a fucking hail of concussive force and 7,000 degree jet fuel. A piece of paper survived. Their bones don't survive, by the way. But a piece of paper survived. So a Pentagon also got hit, and it got hit at a place where Donald Rumsfeld was, but not at that moment, trying to figure out where trillions of dollars of money went missing. Trillions. The World Trade Center was coming up on an upkeep, and it was going to cost, I think, billions to maintain the buildings. So if something happened to those buildings, you get insurance money instead of having to pay. I heard, there was a rumor, a lot of Jewish employees were told not to go to work that day. There's a video of Bush reading a book to children. Someone whispers in his ear and says, the World Trade Center just got hit by a plane. He goes, uh-huh. You can Google this and see him hear that point and just go, yeah, that's cool. Jets are normally told if a plane is going to hit a civilian building, jets are scrambled to blow that plane out of the sky because that is an easier way to deal with it. You blow the plane out of the sky, some rubbish falls. Maybe some people get hurt, a couple get killed. Not 3,000. But the planes were told to stand down for some reason. So this whole thing basically is a justification to go to war in Iraq. And then we go. And I just say we because Canada, we're whatever. We're just part of the States. Who gives a shit? Justifies an attack in Iraq. And one of the first things that happened is we took oil fields. I remember seeing this. Guy raising his hand in front of an oil field. Yes, we've taken the oil fields. And you figure, instead of paying some prince or shah or whatever it is that, is possibly using that money to fund terrorism or whatever, we take it. So now these are ours, which means oil prices should go. Instead, oil prices go. They would come up with an excuse every week. Oh, there's instability in the region. There was a hurricane in the region. Terrorism. We're just, making ends meet. We're just getting by. And then come time to post the quarterly earnings, they posted triple the amount of profits they had ever made, ever. Dick Cheney, who I believe was really behind the whole thing, was the CEO of a company called Halliburton. And when you go blow a place up, one of the things you can do to make money is to repair that place, to rebuild it. And the company that earned all those contracts, now maybe not all of them, but a lot of them, was Halliburton. Conflict of interest much. Bin Laden later on was killed, but no photos were taken, no video was taken, and we just immediately flushed him down the toilet. That seems odd to me. So this whole thing, it's still going on today, of course. But to me, seems like a multi-tier plan. They go, okay, but, assholes in charge, and it's not Bush. Bush is just there during it. I really think it was Dick Cheney and The same assholes who are in control of all the corporations that control the government and the banks and everything. They're always looking for more revenue streams. And once they find a new revenue stream, they do not want to give it up. Like, for instance, I think it was World War II, if I'm not mistaken, in Canada, we didn't have income tax. They implemented income tax because of the war. We're like, okay, that's a good idea. Sure. And then they realized this is a lot of money we're making for free. I think we're going to keep it. So corporations are constantly trying to figure out new revenue streams. And to me, this is a multi-tier plan to save billions on trying to upkeep the Twin Towers. There's trillions of dollars in oil that we can take. Also, little do we find out, near the border of Kuwait, there's, I think it was $1 trillion worth of lithium buried there. You had to go diagonal down underneath Kuwait. And what are our cell phones? Mostly, it's the most important thing is the battery, which is made of lithium. So this whole thing never sat right with me. It just, to me, almost nothing they said was what happened. Now, did they plan it 100%, put everything in motion? Possibly. Did they know it was coming and completely capitalize on it and let it happen? I think so. It's 100% they knew it was coming and let it happen and then built a whole plan around it. Because believe it or not, one of the greatest times to make money is actually during the stock market crash. You think, oh, okay, nobody's got money. No, there's profiteering that can absolutely happen during that. And war is one of the greatest ways to profiteer. And I never understood that when I was younger. Like, how is war profitable? Well, all this money that you use for war comes from where? And what you do is you take all this money that's supposed to go into infrastructure and all these important programs, you take it and you move it over here in a war. And you charge $1,000 for a hammer. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You're the government. You don't answer to anybody. Like I said, this whole thing just doesn't seem right to me. I've heard a lot of crazy conspiracy theories. As far as like buildings going down, I've heard experts say, yes, they went down exactly as they should have, or experts say, no, they went down like a controlled demolition. This whole thermite paint thing. It wouldn't take much. If you know exactly where to put a bomb, you don't have to line an entire building with bombs. You could literally, and they heard explosions. I can't confirm that. Things blow up in there. It fridges. Who fucking knows? But as far as the actual plans go for those buildings, they're supposed to be able to withstand a plane. And they didn't. Twice. By guys that are completely unskilled. So I just figured this whole thing was literally a plan to take trillions of dollars. And then after that happens, we move on to the next phase, which was the banks getting bailed out, where governments give all the banks a bunch of bailout money and don't even ask them, what are you going to use it for? So yeah, I'm going to do another video on corporations. This is just my 9/11 rant. It still doesn't make sense to me. And if you don't look into it at all, you may not see any of this. But when you line up, like I said, 2 or 3 of these facts, you go, that's weird. If you line up everything I just said, there's no fucking way that happened on its own. There is 0% chance naturally all of these events just happened. Anyway.